all to imagine something for me. You go to bed one regular Friday night, but you wake up and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the desert in Egypt. No one around you speaks English. You don't know any Arabic. You're not entirely sure what's going on around you, and you are unsure of how you got there. I imagine you have a couple questions, but how do you communicate without being able to use your words? I am Megan Henry, and I am here today to talk to you about 3 different types of nonverbal communication that children with autism spectrum disorder use. As of November 2018, the CDC reports that 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with autism, and of those diagnosed, 30% are nonverbal. Over the past few weeks, I've been researching 3 important types of nonverbal communication that these children use. It's been a very fun group of information to put together, and I hope that you guys all enjoy it and learn from it as much as I have. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to recognize why children with autism spectrum disorder avoid making eye contact when communicating, and also how they use gestures and pictures in order to communicate their wants and needs. First, I will discuss gestures. Second, I will move on to eye contact, and then finally, the use of pictures. The first type of nonverbal communication is gestures. Children with autism typically use gestures in order to communicate their wants and needs. In the 2012 article, Language and Communication in Autism, an Integrated View, Dr. Patricia Prelock and Dr. Nicola Wolf-Nelson talk about how autistic children use pulling on someone or something, or pointing to something in order to express interest. These are called deictic gestures. And according to Barbara Braddock in Jane Hamilton's article, Arm and Hand Movement in Children Suspected of Having Autism, deictic gestures make up approximately 88% of the gestural repertoire of these young children. So as you can tell, these are very common forms of communication. But gestures have many forms. In addition to the deictic gestures, other forms of gestures are arm and hand movements, gazing, the amount of space between them when communicating, and even things such as different facial expressions. In her 2018 dissertation for California State University, Shama Maloka writes how autistic children very quickly pick up on negative nonverbal communication. Something as little as a frown can send a message to an autistic child that something is wrong. Furthermore, she goes on to explain how these children make their intentions known with different motions using their hands and bodies in order to compensate for the challenges that they have in other forms of communication. One of those challenges is their use of eye contact. So the second form of nonverbal communication is eye contact. In the eye avoidance hypothesis of autism face processing, James Tanaka and Andrew Sung discuss how the lack of eye contact is believed to be common in children with autism. The eyes are actually the most critical aspect of recognizing a particular face or expression. And as early as the first year of life, autistic children exhibit a lack of attention to the face, particularly the eye region. So they wanted to test their theory. They comprised a group of autistic children and non-autistic children, and they presented a face to them. The non-autistic children all set their sights for the eyes when trying to gather their perception. In contrast, the autistic children always set their sights for the mouth. So the conclusion was that the autistic children were instinctively avoiding the eyes. But why was that? According to Tanaka and Sung, that lack of eye contact was believed to be common in the autistic children because they feel that the eye contact is socially threatening. So let's think about that for a second. How hard would it be to have a conversation with someone if you felt threatened simply by making eye contact with them? That lack of eye contact creates social challenges and peer challenges. In his 2007 book, Kids in the Syndrome Mix, Dr. Martin Kutcher writes that the lack of eye contact has the autistic children hanging back or withdrawing from a group due to a lack of understanding. So as you imagine, it would be hard to maintain a relationship with peers if you do not understand what's going on around you. One way to help these children understand and participate more in the group is by integrating the use of pictures. This brings us to our final form of nonverbal communication, the use of pictures. And according to the largest private funder for hearing research, HearingSoul.com, the use of pictures is actually one of the most useful forms of communication for autistic children. They can use picture cue cards and personal drawings in order to express their wants and needs. Personal drawings and visuals are actually one of the most important aids in developing nonverbal communication for autistic children. And drawing is less social and more matter of fact, so it can create a story in a quick way. In Kids in the Syndrome Mix, Dr. Kutcher wrote, Objects are more predictable than people. Pictures and drawings are a sign of comfort for children because of that predictability. So having that comfort makes it a less stressful way to communicate for the autistic child, and in turn less stressful for the person they're communicating with. So looking back, we were able to discuss why autistic children avoid making eye contact and how they use gestures and pictures in order to express their wants and needs. Gestures can be used to signal something or someone that is wanted. Eye contact is avoided because it can feel threatening, and pictures are used in order to point out certain objects or even to draw or create a story. But why is this important? This all comes back to the scenario from the beginning when we woke up in Egypt. We all wanted to be able to communicate our wants and our confusion, but we didn't have our words. Many autistic children deal with this every single day. So the next time that you see an autistic child pulling on someone when they want something, or avoiding making eye contact with you, or even using pictures to show what they want, find comfort in knowing that you recognize that this is how they communicate. Thank you so much for your time and attention today.
Nice work.